I'm with elite amateur boxer Justin Beacall from Birkenhead Venture, ABC. How are you doing, Justin? And I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, cheers, bro. No, I'm great, thanks. How are you? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm in isolation at the moment, so this is keeping me busy. Now, going to how many fights have you had, and what weight have you been boxing at?
I've had 60 fights. I've boxed at I've boxed at mad weights, to be fair. I think when I was my most consistent weight was like 64 kg, but I realised I was too small for that weight. So I went. My weight currently is like 56.
56, right? That is low, isn't it? Because I remember
Yeah,
I
bro.
made the belt for you at 64.
Highest I've boxed is 72. So I boxed at a lot of different weights.
Now, going back to the beginning, was family involved in boxing? What got you in that club in the first place? And when did you start?
Yeah, so I moved about a lot when I was a kid. A lot. So, and because I was always the new face in schools, and I was always the kid who, and I was small as well, a very small kid. So I wanted to know how to defend myself, especially when you go into new schools and you're a new kid. You need to know. You know what I'm saying. So, first club I went to was in Lee ABC. That was my first gym when I was 10. And then I've moved about a lot since then. So that was the reason why I began boxing, just to learn how to defend myself in case of obviously unappreciated situations.
And did you get the bug for it when you went in Lee at the beginning? Did you get the bug for boxing straight away? What are your memories of those early days?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, before he even started Lee, I used to do in Wigan. I used to do karate, and on a Friday we used to spar, and it was more like a box spar. So from then I thought, you know what, I actually prefer the boxing than the karate. So then I went down to Lee with Aj, the coach there, and he and from then it just took off. You get the bug straight away. Soon as you get that punch in the face, and you think, gee, you love it or you hate it. So I loved it.
And I know Lee used to have the home shows at Lowton Civic Hall. Is that where you had your first bout?
It was, yeah, back when I was 11, Lowton Civic Hall. I actually, when I first started, then I was at Lee, that was my first show, and then strangely enough, when I think I was about 16, 17, I went back and I fought Steve Backhouse twice on that same show. So it was a bit surreal because I started it there and I went back and fought him twice in that show, and it was a mad experience. But it's definitely a great gym and a great show to be on, definitely.
And there were good shows at the Civic Hall, but for a young lad, I mean, it was a big crowd in the Civic Hall, wasn't it? What was that pressure like? Can you remember that?
Well, when you very first begin boxing, you always you're picturing is when you're in the gym and you're in a ring and you're sparring. I remember back in Lee, it was like a stable or something. It was an old. It's all been upgraded now, but back in the day, it was like an old shack. And then we were sparring there with all the lads, and you don't actually understand what you're going into until you've been in there, and then you get in, you see all the crowd and the people, and the adrenaline's going. You don't know what's going to happen. And then once you get into it, it's a bug, isn't it? You just want to keep fighting.
And from Lee, you went to Wallasey ABC, didn't you? And then you've ended up at Birkenhead Venture ABC. What's Birkenhead like? What's that like as a club?
Oh, the Birkenhead is amazing. I couldn't thank all the coaches enough for all the input that they do, from training, for the running, the exercises, then we do the sparring, and not just that, more the camaraderie in the gym. Like, everybody is well connected. We've got professional fighters, like we've got Sean Mashadod. He's a great inspiration for every boxer in the gym, and then we've got all up and coming lads, and new pros coming through. Ben Burnham, Tom Musgrave, a good amateur, and there's so many lads to name, to be fair, but to top gym for sure.
Is that stem from the head coach Sean Trodden, isn't it? And Danny Kelly as well.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Trodden, definitely, he's got so much knowledge with the amateur game, it's unreal, and Danny Kelly with the pro game. So with a mix together, it's a perfect mix, because obviously Sean's got the amateur knowledge, Danny's got the pro knowledge together. It's a great combination.
My son Jonathan has sparred with Sean Masher-Dodd.
Yeah.
He's a very tough man, isn't he? What sort of role model has he been for you, Justin?
Massive. I mean, to be honest, when I first went to gym, it's a mad experience for Masher, because when you're watching him to when you're in the ring with him is a different story. Like, you'll be on the outside ring and you'll look at. I remember when I first went to gym, I was watching Sparbar for. I think when I first went to Venture, I thought he had 42 amateurs, so I was quite experienced at that time. And then I went to Venture and I seen Masher, he's the top kid, and I was like, you know what? I reckon I do him, you know. And then it's a different story when you get in there. He's a different animal, but he's so down to earth and polite as well. And he's
such a character, isn't he? As soon as you come across him, you think, oh, you know, he brings life to a gym, doesn't he?
And I don't know where people get this idea from. When you hear the commentators, oh, he's not the strongest puncher. That's a lie. Nobody sparred him. So unless you sparred him and you took a shot, he's a powerful man. Believe me, and he's got the heart of a lion as well.
Oh, I remember when my son sparred him, and my son has sparred a lot of good fighters and boxed a lot of good fighters. And he said after Masher, he said his head was still sore 3 hours later.
100%. Like I say, I've been in quite a few myself, and Masher definitely. I remember I was sparring down in David Colwell's gym with Jamie McDonald, Gavin McDonald, Jordan Gill, sorry, and even still, I think Masher's easily up there with them, and you know, Gavin and Jamie is a world champion, and he's still performing at that level. So
obviously, you know your boxing. You've had over, is it 60 bouts that you had?
60, yeah.
Which are your favourite memories?
Channel Islands, when we went to fight down there with when the Merseyside Chess Squad. The first time we went, I was only young. Luckily, I've been twice. So the first time, I fought Tom Maunder. He was a good kid. He beat me. He was strong. I mean, for some, like say, I was fighting that for a lot of years. It wasn't until I went to Venture that I actually dropped my weight, because I was fighting at like 65 kg for years, and I used to always get in there and be fighting kids like massive and think like, I thought it was just luck. Like I'd always kick the wrong kid, but it wasn't. It was weight, and I didn't realise till I went to Venture and started talking with Danny and Sean and realising, like, you know, I need to get the weight down. You know what I mean? I was a bit of a chubby lad, so I'd be getting to know with kids massive. And like I say, when I first went down to the Channel Islands, I was like 64 kg. Went again the next time, dropped like 60 kg, and I the first time got beat, second time won, and then we had the rematch in Liverpool on the return show, and I won that one as well. But Channel Islands definitely a good one, especially when you're an amateur. It gives you that pro feel, because you get down and going down on the plane and like you're getting ready to fight. And definitely, even if you're working for that international level and you want to box for England, that's a good avenue to go down first.
Now, I've seen you box before, and I matched you with Adam Ridge. I was the matchmaker then, and that was at 64 kilograms. And that was a great fight. I mean, your style then, you know, Adam had to be on the top of his game that night, to and fro. You throw so many shots, don't you? You're aggressive, but you flip and counter as well. Very exciting to watch. What I really liked about that fight was your sportsmanship after. When it's a close fight like that, you know, the head's down, and you came to Adam, and you know, boxers don't appreciate when they've been in a tough bout. They just think about that loss, don't they? Do you think that's important to keep that positive mental approach to the game?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can't believe you was at that fight. That was a great fight. Personally, I was fuming on that fight because I thought I won, and it was a split. But I was happy. It was a split decision. I thought, you know, you're a weight fighter. You lose on a split. It was a good fight. So, Adam was a nice lad, and to be fair, whatever the decision is, whether you've won or lost, it's not the lad's fault that you've boxed. He's just fighting you at the end of the day. Once when on your first few fights, you can get a bit emotional and get a bit like, when you're younger, you're like, oh, like I won that fight, and you start to see your ass a bit. But as you get older, you realise, you're in there, you have a fight. At the end of the day, the better man won at the end of the day. And I mean, Rich hit both of us on that night. It was all out war. So I was happy just to be a part of such a good fight. And the better thing is, at the end of a fight, it's a good fight when the crowd reacting to it. So after the end of the fight, and everyone's standing up, clapping you. You think, you know what? Regardless of the decision, as long as the crowd are happy, then you've done a good job.
Yeah, well, you showed great sportsmanship that night and a great attitude, and like I say, credit to you for that. Now, you advertise in Sparbar there, and you've been an ambassador for it for quite a few years now, haven't you?
It was brought in by one of the lads in the venture. He donated it to us, and then funnily enough, my uncle, when I was younger, he said when it very first came out, there was a kid who I'm actually mates with now. He put the video up of him on it, and then he went viral, millions of views, and he commented on the post and said, "I bet you're not as good as this kid on this product." So I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna put a video of myself. So I done a video, and this was back in 2015. And then next minute, the guy who owns the company messaged me on Instagram and was like, "We're doing a trip to Germany. Do you wanna come along?" And I thought, I thought it was a bit dodgy at first. I was like, yeah, all right, see what happens. And then next thing I know, I'm in Germany with the Sparbar team, and then next minute we're going all around the world. So, but definitely incorporating the Sparbar to boxing. There isn't a product out there that's like it. Like the way you can incorporate your movement, your hitting. It's definitely probably the best product for me, my style. Even any boxer who's good at moving, got the head movement to hit the combinations with the movements, it's definitely going to up your game for sure.
Some legendary boxers, haven't you?
Definitely. I mean, that was the first time when we went to Atlantic City. I was having dinner with Evander Holyfield. Like, as if that had happened. I'm sitting there laughing Birkenhead. I'm sitting there in this little hotel room. Not hotel room, sorry, yeah, hotel like bar. And he's opposite me. And I'm just eating with Evander Holyfield, like, what's going on? I don't even know what's happening here. Next minute, my boss tapped me on the shoulder, one of the guys I was with, and he was like, "Oh, there's someone to meet you in Caesar's Palace." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "I'm sitting with Evander Holyfield, I'm not going anywhere." And then next minute, we go to Caesar's Palace, and it's Roy Jones Jr. I'm like, I was having dinner with Evander Holyfield, Roy Jones Jr. And then the next day we sparred him on the Sparbar as well. And I remember I was sparring him on the Sparbar. He was on the other side, I was on this side. I hit him, the barman hit him in the face. I was like, ah, and he just ran away. He does a little joke with him, like, and he's a great guy.
It's like swing ball. Oh goodness! Oh, nice. Yeah, you ready for that thing? Nice. Get the bulbs. Get the bulbs.
Oh!
I think he's cheating a little bit. Hello, the Boris. Hello, the Boris.
You've met a couple of my favourites, Tim Witherspoon, Roberto Duran. You had a photograph with, and
yeah, I was having a wee with Roberto Duran. Fully enough, I was in the urinal and I was stood there like that. He was just about to go on stage. I didn't even know at the time that he was in there. And then I turned around and I turned to the left and he was just there with Roberto Duran. I was like, oh my god, I'm having a piss with Roberto Duran. And then afterwards, come out, he doesn't speak very good English, but he's a very down to earth man and very, very polite man. And then again, Tim Witherspoon. I've met Tim Witherspoon so many times. I think the first time was I fought on a Wallasey show, and he was with Kenny Rayford, and they were presenting the shows with the trophies and stuff. That was the first time I met him, and I was speaking to him in Atlantic City about it. And he was like, "Oh my God, yeah, I remember that." he's a very nice man as well. Great champion.
You've had quite a busy boxing career in and out of the ring. What benefits do you feel, Justin, that boxing does do for people?
And for me, mentally, when I grew up, I wasn't in the best family environment when I was growing up. My only escape from because at the time, a lot of my family was going through domestic violence and alcohol addiction, all loads of things like that. And the only way for me to escape that would be through boxing. If it wasn't for boxing, I would definitely went down a different avenue. I would have been hanging around with people taking drugs and smoking and drinking, and I definitely wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for boxing. And even now as I'm older, obviously that's not a thing that I'd be going down. So it's more for just keeping you in a routine and keeping you stable mentally. Because I think one thing for sure, especially through the lockdown period as well, a stable routine and keeping you exercising, keeping you moving, that is definitely going to get you through. And it got me through.
It's the obvious question, but how have you dealt with the lockdown and being away from the gym? I know a lot of boxers have found it hard.
Yeah, for me, it was really, obviously for everyone, it's been a difficult situation. For me, last year, obviously I was turning pro at the time with the Venture and with VIP as well with Steve Woods. And I'd just gone through my license. I passed the interviews, and obviously they said I was able to box, and that was the biggest fear for me. The biggest fear for me was getting there and then them saying your record isn't good enough or your ability isn't good enough. So I passed that stage and I was over the moon. I was like, there we go, next stage now. Just got to get the medical sorted and then I'm on my way. And then unfortunately I failed the medical, and I couldn't get over it. Cause like in my head I was thinking, oh no, it'll definitely come through in some way, but obviously it was never gonna happen. And then lockdown happened. I had my little girl in lockdown, which was, it kind of relieved the stress on my head to think, the whole stress of not turning pro was kind of gone, because I was dealing with my little baby at the time. And then after like we got through the baby situation, and then it come back to me then, wait, the pro game, like the boxing, and I thought, I didn't know, like I was kind of in a rut, like I didn't know what to do. The only thing that I could do to get myself out of that would be to go to the gym, and the gyms were shut. So at that point, I was like, my head's all up, didn't know where to go, what way to turn. So then the only way for me to get out of that would be to run, go to the gym. So the gym wasn't open, went down the running avenue, started running all the time, doing the home workouts as everybody here has been doing. And that slowly started to get me back. So definitely fitness for me and boxing is the way forward, mentally and physically.
Yeah, because life isn't all about boxing, isn't it? Even though we love it. What other hobbies have you got?
Not many, to be honest. Boxing's my main one. I mean, obviously everyone likes footy. I'm big into my footy as well. But boxing for me is definitely the one. From a boy, I've always just preferred it, to be fair. But I still like football. Play with my little boy as well. So
yeah, I'm trying to figure out if you'd be a red or blue at Birkenhead. I'm not quite sure. Or Tranmere even.
Yeah, I mean, Sean and all the lads, most of them are Tranmere, to be fair. But then we've got the glory boys with the red. Obviously, we're winning the league at the minute and all that. So, but then we got the odd blue, like Tom Muscat, he's little blue. There's the
Now, going back to your boxing, what are your ambitions that are left with it? Have you started coaching already?
Before, like I had the idea of turning pro. I was coaching at the time. I was coaching high schools and primary schools, doing boxing, coaching there. So I had the experience then. I done my level 1 years ago, but I cornered one lad, Sonny Walker, for the Wallasey, and he won that fight as well. And then after that, I moved gyms and a lot of things went down to it. I didn't really get back into it. So I'm definitely going to go down the coaching avenue. To be honest though, the first thing I want to do, I do want to have a few more amateur fights. Definitely trying to get to 100. I've always thought every day I'm going to turn pro. The next step would be to have 100 amateurs. So just to hit that milestone, and then definitely start the coaching. Feel a bit young to be straight into coaching. I've still got a few fights I want to get in there, get out of the way. Other than that though, once I've had them 100 fights, definitely be just down the coaching avenue. How
hard do you think it'll be when, I know you're still young, got plenty of life in you yet, but when you do have to hang the gloves up?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me it's different, because when they told me that I couldn't turn over pro, that was, for me, that was like, oh, maybe I should just hang the gloves now and just give it up and that's it. But I think it made me realise that obviously life isn't just about boxing, and like say, family and friends and other things like that. So I've come to realise myself just through that experience that it isn't all about boxing. So, but at the same time, what I love about boxing more than anything is the giving back. And I think I've made more friends and more colleague friends in that instance through boxing, and I've helped more people than I'd ever think I'd help. Even just little things like when a kid's sparring and he comes out to me and he goes, I struggled there, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And I go, yeah, I mean, so if you just do this little thing here, and it'll help you for future spars, and then after he'll have a spar and he'll come back to me and go, you know what, that worked, that's Justin, thank you for that. I'm like, hey, yeah, no worries. And just little things like that. And every time if a lad comes in the gym and he's working on something, I'll go to him and I'll teach him a little thing, and I'll think that it was nothing, but then later on he'd message me like a few years later and be like, you know what, you helped me so much through the gym. And then I think, you know what, that it's not the doing, it's the giving back that is more of a value to me in boxing, definitely.
And what advice, if you go to when you was 10, 11 and you was going in that gym for the first time, what advice now would you give to that 10, 11-year-old?
The first thing is definitely don't be afraid, don't be scared of it can be intimidating when you first walk in. You'll be like, oh, there's loads of lads, you can all fight, they're all looking at me, I'm nervous. And don't be, because they're all there for the same reason as you. They just want to progress themselves, whether it's physically or whether it is just something to do. But definitely just get yourself in there. Once you start throwing them punches on the bags, you'll forget about what everybody else is doing and you just be focused on yourself. And that's the main thing about boxing. It's not a team sport. Although we are boxing as a team, it is individual. So just remember, everyone's in there for themselves. So make sure that you're concentrating on what you're doing. But at the same time, it is a team that you're with. So everybody's in there to help you anyway. Nobody's there to criticise you. We're all there as a team. For example, the venture, everyone in the venture, we're all there to help each other, and we're all brothers.
Well, thanks very much for that, Justin. I appreciate your time and best of luck with the future in your amateur career.
Legend. Thank you for having me as well. Cheers, bro.
I'm hanging out with my man Justin. Don't y'all get it twisted. This ain't no photo shooting and all that other kind of shooting. This is Roy Jones shooting from the hip with the helmet. You heard me? They don't care. This is Roy Jones, and I'm here with my man Justin. So don't take it for a joke. It's the truth. This is how we do, baby. Give us something. All right. Don't talk about it.